dang, I can't believe we're out of 2018 already. You know, many people say that 2018 was such a hard year on them and that it was such an awful year, but I think we were overly harsh on 2018 because while we were here it seemed so awful, but looking back on it, it had so many positives. There were so many upsides, and yeah, there were cons, but so many advances that were far ahead of its time, and you had so many great games that people just overlooked. And wait, am I thinking of the Dreamcast or 2018? It seems at the start of every single year, there's many people on the internet who give their opinions on their favourite game of the year, and I'm a person on the internet. So I'm gonna throw my hat through the door and give my opinion on my best games of the year. I know it's hat in the ring, but I don't have a ring, so you're gonna have to settle for a door. Now keep in mind two things while I'm going over this. The first thing is there are only going to be games released in 2018. I played a lot of games that are released in other years this year, so I'm not going to be including those, but I did play more games than there's here. And as well as that, it's only games that I happen to have played. So a game like God of War, despite it winning Game of the Year, I didn't play, so I can't put it on the list. Now people are going to attack me on the streets. This is wonderful! And without further ado, let's begin with a game that was released in 2005. Yes, Shadow of the Colossus was a 2005 game released for the PS2. However, the first time I got a chance to play it was with the PS4 From the Ground Up remake, and honestly, I don't know what to say here that hasn't been said before. The music cues, the beautiful graphics, the absolute pure satisfaction of taking out a massive giant that takes a long time to figure out, the plot twists, it's just all of this combines together to make a joyful yet tear-jerking experience as you progress, and it will definitely leave a long-lasting impression on you. Team Ico is one of the most recognizable companies, and this is one of the games that kickstarted them being in the mainstream. It's a cult classic that you should definitely give a go. And this is for two reasons. One is how beautifully designed this game is as a whole. And two is... Remember when I said I didn't play a lot of new games this year? Yeah, that continues here. Hyrule Warriors is just downright fun. Yeah, you'll have the same joy from playing any Dynasty Warriors style games such as Dynasty Warriors 9 or Fire Emblem Warriors, but this game has a Zelda twist, combining all the content from the Wii U version, because you're on the Wii U, and the 3DS version, because I don't feel like I really want to play the game with as much chaos like this, with a controller like this. And hey, this makes this such an enjoyable and worthwhile package. The game goes through most of Zelda history, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, and all the characters alongside this, plus characters that didn't really get their time in the spotlight beforehand, such as Twilight Midna or Skull Kid, even though he kind of got the... Either way. This is truly an amazing collection of maps and characters for Zelda fans, like me. There's so much to do here. You can go for the main campaign, which has a bunch of content in it alone, and there's also a multitude of challenge maps, side game options such as being able to control Ganon and destroy everything in your path, multiple collectibles. It's all here, and wow, if you enjoy Zelda and really want mass genocide on the Mokoblins, this is the best way to do it, and there are hundreds of hours of content on this cartridge if this is the style of content that you're really after. There's no Groose though, but hey, there's more time for a sequel if they can actually fit anything else on here. Plus, they also have their OCs in this game. I really want Linkle to be in the main Zelda game now. Okay, I promise there's new games on this list somewhere. So coming at number 8, I have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It kind of falls under the same hood as Hyrule Warriors, where it was released on the Wii U originally, but no one owned a Wii U, so there you go. And at least Hyrule Warriors had a 3DS version. Plus, I just love this game so much. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is honestly one of my favourite 2D platformers of all time. Rather than focus on the quantity of levels, it focuses on quality, and it works so well. Every single level here is so memorable. Whether you're riding a minecart through a plane crash thing, I'm still confused what this is. You've also got unique themes such as jelly blocks and frozen platforms, and an animal savanna which gets destroyed by a tornado and a fire. No levels outstay their welcome, and every level feels so thought out. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze might not have needed a re-release as much as other games, but honestly, I think it deserved it. Everyone should give this game a chance if you're a fan of platformers at all. And yes, it's challenging, but it's so worth it. Plus funky mode. See, I did play games that were originally released this year. Kind of. Kirby Star Allies is a simple, fun platformer that has received tons of content since its release. And if you've ever played a Kirby game before, you know what you're in for, and if not, just know it's a very simple platformer with tough after-game challenges and is so much fun with friends. The game looks great, has tons of charm to it, and you'll find a lot to do after the main campaign. I do wish the main campaign was a tad longer though. The guest allies bonus mode thing definitely adds replay value, and the new extra heroes in another dimension mode is definitely a good challenge for those who really enjoyed the base game. I enjoy Kirby games as they're a simple title to just pick up and have fun with. You can just turn your brain off and just go through a bunch of levels, destroying everything in your path. It's definitely not for everyone, and it is much better with friends. But hey, I can have Susie, Marks, and Gooey on one team. Yes. All of my yes. So after the outstanding success of Crash Insane Trilogy, it was really only a matter of time before another major icon of the PS1 got his time in the spotlight again. Unfortunately, Pac-Man World's gonna have to wait a little bit, but hey, Spyro! This game is gorgeous. The Reignite trilogy is faithful to the original trilogy. Apparently, I only vaguely remember playing one of these titles, I think it was Spyro 2. But anyway, they fixed these games out to be absolutely beautiful with the power of modern consoles. And is it weird these titles have felt relaxing to me? It's weird. I've always had a soft spot for collectathons, and I'll admit I can just completely blank out and just go through multiple levels at a time and just collect every single gem and every single other thing that they throw at me. I can just have a fun time with these games. I think the easiest comparison to make if you've never tried Spyro is the LEGO games, where my main satisfaction came from 100% of the levels and seeing that overall completion just slowly climb up. It's definitely more difficult than LEGO games, but I think it's actually more fun as a result. People were really excited to see the original PlayStation remakes, and I think the fact that people wanted these PlayStation 1 games just remade more than anything else speaks to their quality nowadays. I do kind of wish more effort was put into the menus though. They just kind of seem like they were slapped together in a day, and subtitles really wouldn't go amiss. But despite this, it's a brilliant collection, and if you find this, you should definitely pick them up. It's the best way to play Spyro nowadays, and they're just downright fun. Okay, what's number 5? Oh, I love the Persona series, and the music here tickles me in all the right places. Sorry. I'm including the two games here in the same spot because I feel they're largely the same games in different skins, plus I got the edition with both the games, so it just makes sense. Real games have always had an appeal to me, but I've never fully gotten into any of them. The Persona dancing games changed that completely with me because I love Persona. I love the music. It's perfect. I find the choice of music, both remixed and original, to be perfect to hit the beats to, and the interactions with the characters are all perfect and encapsulate the personalities to a T. It's all gorgeous, and a Persona fan of any of these games will absolutely love this. My problem is I've never played Persona 3. Look, I plan to at some stage. RPGs take a long time to get through, but that means that I don't feel as much playing through the Persona 3 dancing game as I do with the Persona 5 dancing game. Persona 5 is one of the favourite games I've ever played, and at the moment, Persona 3 just exists for me. And I'll admit, the game feels kind of empty with just Persona 5. There's so much if you have both of these games and not as much as just one of them. Add to this the huge price for the DLC, and I'm just so mixed on this game. I love it so much, and it's obvious hours of care and attention has gone into making every part of it, but if you've never played Persona 3 or 5, and I guess by extension Persona 4, I really can't recommend these games as much. But hey, who knows? I think most people really enjoyed Persona 5's soundtrack regardless. As an example of Persona 5's brilliant soundtrack, here's a song that absolutely no one's heard before.
You never see it come back. You say that my mind is too fast for eyes.
I scrapped quite a lot of video ideas from last year, one of which was actually a script of my thoughts on this game, as it's received quite an amount of contention over the past month or so since its release. People either love the game or wish it never existed in the first place. I've had more time to reflect on this game, and I'll admit, I actually really enjoyed my playtime through Kanto. Again. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu look gorgeous and sound incredible. I found the catch mechanic to be really fun and much more engaging than just button pressing found in other Pokemon titles. Although I don't like how Pokemon can just run away at will, that's really frustrating. The game can actually be challenging, especially after the third gym, and the way it opens up to allow the player to explore almost anywhere around the middle of the adventure made this journey something I'll remember for quite a while. This feels like the perfect introduction to those who've never played a Pokemon game before, because it's simple but not dumbed down, and I did enjoy my playthrough of it. I kinda wish there was more to do in the after games, such as the additions made in Fire and Leaf Green, because yes, this is a reimagining, I guess, and it may be almost too nostalgic to those who played Red and Blue to death, but to me, these are some of the most refreshing Pokemon games in a while, and that's with retreading the same steps we've seen before. Now just give me Let's Go Bidoof and I'll be satisfied. I didn't think much of this game when it first released. It's another indie game with a pixel art style. Sure, okay. Loads of people talked about how challenging the game could be, how fun it was to control, the great soundtrack. Yeah, okay. Nothing I've never heard before from an indie game. I might pick it up later. But towards the end of the year, I kept hearing more about it. It was nominated for Game of the Year, so I had to check it out. And honestly, I wish I had sooner. Celeste controls perfectly, has an ideal amount of challenge in the main campaign, with a devilish amount of challenge in the unlockable B-side versions, and they're all just so satisfying to finish. The music is all so beautiful that, honestly, I really want to buy this soundtrack to listen to at any time, and the plot, although simple, is really compelling and stuck with me. The game looks beautiful, all the challenges are held on a single screen, making them really satisfying to get through, and the additional challenge in the form of collectible strawberries, which don't do anything major, but they're fun to collect. It means that even if it seems stressful, there's always an end in sight, and it feels so rewarding to get through. It's a small indie game that I thought I was going to pass by, and it's become a standout from every other platform I've played. And honestly, I'm super excited to see these really super hard levels they're talking about releasing sometime this year. I'm really excited for these really hard levels, and I'm also ready to cry. Just messing about, being all, haha, funny game. This is me being serious. Oh! Okay, this is another game that I was going to completely overlook before, so people play it and thought, yeah, that looks fun. And it was. It's weird when you see a game that you just know is going to be super fun to just control. It is. It's just super fun. It looks amazing, it plays amazing, and you feel like Spider-Man. Okay, journalists made this seem like a term that's really lazy to describe how the game controls, but I can't help but emphasize that. The game really does everything it hopes to do in the aspect of making you feel like the character it wants you to feel like. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, take on all these iconic villains. Never even seen a spider or a man? well, this game understands that and doesn't alienate those people. This game takes collectathons, mid-air chasing, parkouring around buildings, and doesn't just implement them well, but perfects them to the extent where this is not only the best Spider-Man game, or one of the best licensed games, but one of the best games in PS4 as a whole. It's a truly phenomenal game, and if you own a PS4, you owe it to yourself to buy this game. Now, before we head on to the number 1 spot, I just want to combine 2 of my favourite words here. You've got honourable mentions and dishonourable mentions. Let's begin! 2 companies did their best to prove that game companies can still be interesting. Konami released Metal Gear Survive, and the general reception was, yeah, they kinda killed the franchise. Kojima essentially crafted the Metal Gear series so perfectly in many people's eyes that this shameless cash grab has angered so many hardcore fans. It'll be really difficult to see if Konami will ever try their hand in this series again. Or just keep it pachinko machines. But hey, at least for how bad the game was, it actually worked. Because Fallout 76, from what I've seen, was a failure on almost every level. The game just didn't really work. The collector's editions weren't as promised, and Bethesda's attitude to the criticism was just, ugh. It made Fallout 76 be one of the worst games released that year. Nothing about this game has stuck out to me apart from the fact that it was garbage. But initially it was interesting? I don't know, I feel like this game should have had another year in development in order to be good. But as it stands, Fallout 76 is just a company mismanaging their game to the fullest extent. So, in reality, the biggest failures of 2018 weren't really games themselves, but the companies behind the games. And maybe it'll be a learning curve for them, who knows. Also, apparently Call of Duty and Battlefield released this year. I never even noticed, and that just goes to show my interests in games.
Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a past still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light.
Yeah, was there any doubt in this? Within the past month, Smash Bros. Ultimate has become one of my most played games on the Switch. It's amazing. Smash 4 really disappointed me, to be honest, so I was hesitant with Ultimate initially. They announced story modes, and they announced they were reworking mechanics, bringing back every stage and every character. Oh my god, Pichu! Spirits is such an interesting addition, and they've kept me hooked for hours as I've tried to collect them all. Classic mode is unique for every single character, and everyone feels unique and so fun to play through. Every character is here, and they're all so amazing to control. Ice Climbers, Pichu, Inkling, Youngling, Lucas, they're so fun to play. 103 stages, so much music. This game is fun, and ultimately, that's the best thing about it. I love Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. There are small things I do miss, like the trophies, and I wish the story mode was expanded more to include more cutscenes, but you know what? Yeah, this game is super fun, and yeah, I'm nowhere near embarrassed to say this was my favourite game of the year. I have 85 hours in this game, and I'm not afraid to admit that. So yes, those are my favourite games of 2018, and if you had a different game I didn't cover, leave it below, I might even play it. I don't have a lot of time. Who knows? But thinking about it, a lot of the games I had on this list were actually games that were released in previous years, like Shadow of the Colossus. And think about it, let's look at Nintendo's offering. Let's look at Nintendo's first big game of 2019. They're just releasing New Super Mario Bros. U again. What's this Kingdom of Hearts thing?